I need you to stay with me for this one. I need you to not scroll past, not click away, not let this be just another thing that plays in the background while you're doing something else. Because what I'm about to say, what I've been sitting with, turning over, trying to find the courage to say out loud for longer than I want to admit, it is the most honest thing I have shared in this space, ever. And I've shared a lot of honest things here, but this one is different. This one goes to the very center of me, to the place that I protect most carefully, to the thing that matters more than anything else in my life. And I'm choosing to bring it to you. I'm choosing you for this. So please stay. I need someone who will truly love my child as her own. I want you to feel the weight of that sentence. I want you to let it sit on you for a moment before I explain it. Before I give you the context and the story and all the careful words I've been arranging and rearranging, trying to make this easier to say, because before the explanation, before anything else, I need you to just feel it, the rawness of it, the vulnerability of a person saying out loud, I have a child and she is the whole world to me, and I am standing here asking if you have the kind of heart that can hold her. That is not a small thing to ask. I know that. I know it better than anyone, and I have not asked it lightly. I have not arrived at this moment quickly or without cost. I have thought about it in the quiet hours, in the dark of early morning, when she is still sleeping and the house is still, and I am just sitting with the truth of my life and what it requires and what it means. I have thought about whether to say it here, whether to say it at all, whether the right move is to keep this particular tenderness private, locked away where nothing can touch it. But here is what I keep coming back to. You have never made me feel like honesty was unsafe. You have never made me feel like the real things were too much. And so I am trusting that again now. I am trusting you with the realest thing I have. She is 3 years old. And she is, I don't have the words for what she is. I have never in my life been someone who ran out of words. But she defeats me every time. Every single time I try to describe her, I end up just stopping, just going quiet, because no arrangement of language I've ever found has been equal to what she actually is. She is funny in a way that startles you, this sharp, instinctive, completely unself-conscious humor that she didn't learn from anyone, that just came with her, that was already there when she arrived. She is serious sometimes in a way that stops your heart. She'll go quiet and still, and look at something with these eyes, that seem to be understanding things you didn't know a 3-year-old could understand. She is loud, and she is soft. She is fearless, and she is sensitive. She contains things that contradict each other, and she contains them all at once, without any conflict. The way only very young people and very wise people can. She is the greatest thing I have ever been part of. And I am raising her, me, on my own, in the ways that matter most, on the days that are hardest, in the moments that no one sees. It is me and her and me, learning each other and building something between us that is the most important thing I have ever built. And I want to be clear about something before I go any further, because I need you to understand this. I am not broken by it. I am not looking for rescue. I am not coming to you from a place of desperation or loneliness or the kind of need that isn't really about love at all, but about filling a space that feels too empty. I am not that. I am someone who is full of her, full of this life, full of the specific, daily, sometimes exhausting and always meaningful work of being her father. I am full. And in that fullness, in that richness, from that grounded and certain and clear-eyed place, I find myself wanting to share it. Not because I need someone to complete me, but because beautiful things are more beautiful when they're witnessed. Because joy shared is joy multiplied. Because she deserves to grow up in a house that has more love in it than any one person can generate alone. And because I have been thinking about you specifically and tenderly, and with more care than you probably know, I have been thinking about you, about the kind of woman you are, about the qualities I have come to know in you through all this time of honest exchange, through all the ways you've shown up, through everything you've revealed about yourself simply by the way you receive and respond to what I share. And I have been thinking quietly, carefully, with my whole heart, about whether someone like you could love her, whether someone like you would want to. Let me tell you what that would mean. Let me take you into what I mean when I say truly, because truly is a very specific word and I'm using it very specifically. I don't mean tolerating her. I don't mean being kind to her, in the careful, deliberate, slightly effortful way that people are kind to children they don't really know what to do with. I don't mean trying. I mean something that doesn't try because it doesn't have to. Something that just is. The way you don't try to breathe, you just breathe. The way you don't try to feel warmth from sunlight, you just feel it. That kind of love. The kind that arrives naturally, without force, because something about who she is simply calls it out of you. That is what she deserves, and I will not settle for less. I want to tell you about a morning we had recently. Just the two of us, a regular morning, nothing special, no occasion. We were having breakfast, and she was talking. The way she always talks in the morning, this continuous gentle stream of observations and questions and stories she's making up in real time. And I was listening, really listening. The way I try to always listen to her, because I know these mornings are not going to last forever, and I want to have heard all of them. And she stopped mid-sentence and looked at me with those eyes and she said, completely out of nowhere, completely matter of fact, Daddy, are you happy? I didn't answer immediately. Not because I didn't know the answer, but because I was so caught off guard by the question, by the fact that she was asking it, by the fact that at 3 years old she is already paying attention to me the way I pay attention to her, watching, noticing, caring about the interior state of the person she loves. And I thought she learned that somewhere. She learned that from being loved in a way that made her feel seen. She learned to see because she has been seen. And I said yes. Yes, I am happy. And she nodded like that was the right answer and went back to her story. And I sat there for the rest of breakfast with something in my chest that I didn't have a name for. Something warm and aching and grateful all at once. Thinking about what it means to be known by someone so small, what it means to be loved so simply, so completely, so without condition. And I thought about you. I thought about whether you are someone who loves like that, without condition, without the careful calculations that adults bring to love, the risk assessments and the self-protections and the measured portions. Whether somewhere in you there is still that childlike quality of loving with your whole self, holding nothing back, giving everything you have because the person in front of you is simply worth it. I think there is. I think that's part of what I've always felt from you. I want to be honest about the fear too, because there is fear. I would be lying to you, and I have promised never to lie to you here, if I told you this was all warmth and hope and open hands. There is also fear. The specific, particular fear of a parent who has watched their child be the most vulnerable person in any room, and who understands in the bone-deep way that only parents understand, that a child cannot protect herself from the choices the adults around her make. She trusts completely. She loves without reservation. She gives herself over entirely to the people her world is made of. And that total openness, that beautiful fearless giving, it is everything I love most about her, and also the thing that makes me most careful, because it can be hurt, because if I bring someone into her world, and that someone is not what they presented themselves to be, it is not just me who pays that cost. She would pay it too. And she is 3 years old, and she has done nothing to deserve that cost, and I would do anything to protect her from it. So I am careful, I am slow, I am the person who takes longer than seems reasonable, who asks more than seems comfortable, who waits and watches and pays attention to the small things, because the small things are where character actually lives, not in the grand gestures and the easy moments, but in the ordinary ones, the inconvenient ones, the moments when no one is watching and you still choose the kind thing. Are you someone who chooses the kind thing when no one is watching? I think you are. I think I have gathered enough of you over all this time to believe that you are. But I want to say it as a question rather than a statement, because you deserve the space to answer it honestly. Because self-knowledge is a form of respect for yourself and for the people whose lives your choices affect. And my daughter's life is one of those. Whatever you decide, whatever you honestly know about who you are and what you have to give, that matters here more than anything. Let me tell you what a day with her looks like. Let me take you inside it, because I think if you could see it, if you could feel the actual texture of it, you would understand what I'm offering when I say I want someone to share this with. I want you to understand that this is not a burden I'm asking you to take on. This is a gift I'm inviting you into. She wakes up early, earlier than I would wake up on my own, earlier than feels reasonable, but she wakes up full, already fully herself, already completely awake to the world, already talking before she's even fully sat up. And the first thing she does, every single morning without exception, is call for me. Not because she's afraid, not because she needs something, just because she wants to know I'm there. Just because her first instinct upon entering a new day is to find the person she loves most and make sure he's still real. I will never stop being grateful that I am that person for her. We have breakfast together and she tells me things, important things, from her perspective, dreams she had, ideas she's had, plans for what she wants to do, observations about the world that are so precise and so original that I find myself reaching for my phone to write them down before they disappear. She sees things that I don't see anymore. She sees them because she hasn't yet learned not to. She hasn't yet learned that adults are supposed to move through the world efficiently, purposefully, without stopping to really look at things. She stops. She looks. She asks why with the full weight of someone who actually wants to know. I am learning to stop again. I am learning from her how to actually look. And in the afternoons, when she's tired but refusing to admit it, this is her most herself, I think. This is when all the performance falls away, because she's too tired. That is what I want someone to understand. That is what I need someone to be willing to learn. That children speak a language that is not always made of words. That sometimes love means being a place someone can lean. Sometimes it means being still when everything in you wants to keep moving. Sometimes it means putting down the thing that feels urgent and picking up the thing that is actually important. And the thing that is actually important is almost always a small person with tired eyes who just needs to know that the people in her world are solid. Can you be solid? That is what I'm really asking. Not perfect. I would never ask for perfect. I don't believe in perfect. I think the pursuit of perfect is one of the great thieves of actual goodness. Not endlessly patient. No one is endlessly patient, and pretending otherwise is a lie that only holds up until